What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench podcast network and channel. Giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. And for everyone who's tuning in, I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make this show the best that it can be. Now, you know how you pick up on bad vibes and you feel something is off or that a wrong turn was made or a bad choice was made or a miscalculation, whatever you want to call it, an error in judgment. Well, the Los Angeles Clippers, man, basketball fans know about their history. They never won a championship. They never been to a finals. The best season they had was a couple of years ago during the 2020-21 campaign when the Clippers advanced to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history. And, when a team has struggled for a long time and you see them on the brink of winning, you actually, in a way, kind of root for them, or if they haven't won, either they haven't won at all or they haven't won in a long time, and when it seems like it's just their time, man, you just kind of root for them, you know what I'm saying? But when I think about these Clippers, man, ever since they signed Kawhi Leonard and brought in Paul George during the 2019 offseason, they had all this optimism, man. I remember the new owner, Steve Ballmer, man, he was elated, man. He was hyped up. He was like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? He felt he was on the brink of winning a championship. And they've had talent. The Clippers have had a very deep teams, not a super team per se, but very deep teams where, they had enough talent to vie for a championship. But injuries, major injuries to their two best players have derailed, their potential. But after making his latest move last week, bringing in James Harden, it just seems like they actually acted against their own interest because they brought in a player who was causing a lot of, chaos and just a lot of disruption with the Philadelphia 76ers because he didn't want to play there no more, for whatever reason. He said, the GM in Philly, Daryl Morey, promised him that he was going to extend him, but that didn't happen. And, but at the end of the day, I mean, James Harden, he had a couple of really good games in the playoffs, but when they absolutely needed his production and his versatility as a player, he just hasn't delivered when it's money time. And the Clippers traded for him, and I believe it's thrown off their whole chemistry. Now I know a lot of times when a trade first takes place between teams, like a player gets traded to a team, it may take a while to get things going, but this is different because I've seen trades where a player is traded to a team and they gel right away, like Porzingis, Kristaps Porzingis. Since he's been traded to the Boston Celtics, uh, uh, going into this season, I mean he's fitting like a glove. You know, but you know, here we are, the Clippers. They gave up a lot of depth, and they gave up, you know, first round picks and pick swaps to bring in one player. Well, they did also acquire PJ Tucker, but PJ Tucker is mainly brought in to defend and to shoot the corner three, but he's not a scorer. There's nights where he don't score at all. And now I believe that's impacted their bench and their depth. Because I think we saw that last night again after James Harden played his second game for the Clippers after being traded there. And they faced the Brooklyn Nets last night on the road. And when we look at this box score, they lost by a score of 193. So now, the Clippers brought in James Harden to improve their offense, but it just seems like to me, see, a problem is sometimes, a lot of times, more is less and less is more. You can bring in too many stars where you got two superstars who really have to command the ball, the basketball, and possess the basketball in order for them to maximize their ability as a player. And now you have two playmakers in Harden and Westbrook, James Harden and Russell Westbrook, that there could be a clash down the road. And then your two best players, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who mainly play off ball, but now they're playing out of position because Paul George is now playing the four, the power forward. He's not a power forward. He's a small forward. Even though he's 6'9", he does not play. His game is not suited to be a power forward game in and game out. And Kawhi Leonard, he's playing, well, he's a natural three playing small forward. But now you really only have one player in the starting lineup who can be relied on to rebound at a high level, and that's their center, Ivica Zubac, I should say. And now with Harden being included in the starting five, the starting rotation, that's going to compromise or sacrifice shot attempts that Zubac should be getting to make their offense more of a threat. So last night, Zubac only had I think the first game versus that first game who they played this week. Yeah, Zubac only had like 3 shot attempts. Yeah, against the Knicks. Against the Knicks, James Harden debuted with the Clippers. And, he had 10 points and 10 rebounds. But now their second unit, so far, you really only had. Now I know Terrence Mann has been out. He had been out due to injury, but you see last night he didn't score. He was scoreless, and you only had one player, come off the bench and score double figures, and that's Norman Powell. And Bones Highland, he's streaky, but he can get you, on a given night, he can get you about 18, 20 points, but I don't think it's going to be anything consistent. So if you look at their rotation, basically, Mason Plumlee was out too due to an injury. So I just believe that this is a situation where more is less. And I think they could be attacked on the offensive boards, and their offense, I think, would become even more stagnant and predictable and more ISO oriented, where you really won't have a lot of movement, to keep the defense on their heels and to keep them honest. So the way I see it is, I don't really understand why they traded for James Harden, especially at this stage of his career. And it's a situation where if this thing don't work and, they fail to make a deep run in the playoffs or make the playoffs at all, well, the top 4 players, I believe, will all be free agents by season's end. So this is an example of when a team is trying to, win now, no matter what, more often than not, they're going to lose. And their Western Conference just continues to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And now the West is so deep in terms of talented teams. I'm not necessarily saying even playoff teams. Like the lesser teams got better. So the bottom half of the Western Conference is stronger. So there really won't be any gimme games throughout the course of the season. And that's for all the teams in the conference. And, even in the Eastern Conference to a slightly lesser degree. But, yeah, basically the way I see it is I don't think the Clippers improve with this trade. I just don't see it. I could be wrong. Time will tell. But so far early in the season, I think it was a lateral move at best. But I guess we'll find out down the road. Just want to drop that nugget. Till next time, this is JB for BTB Behind the Bench.